Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal. See playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 401. Don't Insult My Family Technique. Chapter 401. Don't Insult My Family Technique. Oh well, now that teacher is back, I have naturally something big I wish to attend to. It'll be troubling for me to bring you along with me. How about this? Go and look for your fellow classmates. Once I'm done with my stuff, I'll look for you guys. In front of his student, Lin Fan naturally had to show his disposition as a teacher. Yes, don't worry teacher. I'll go and look for all of them. Cao Tianzhao nodded his head excitedly. If they knew that their teacher was back, all of them would definitely be really excited. Back then, their teacher had left suddenly without saying goodbye. They didn't even know what had happened. Not long later, the incident in the Great Yan dynasty happened. After escaping from the dynasty, all of them had to wander as destitutes outside, suffering the cruelty of the world. Okay, Lin Fan nodded his head. Gently raising his hand, he tore a gap in the void and left. By now, all the juniors of Kai Tianzhao were completely dumbfounded. They had not dared to speak a single word in front of Lin Fan, only listening with a respectful face. After Lin Fan left and they calmed their nerves, they began to clamor excitedly. Senior brother, why have you never mentioned that you had such a powerful teacher? That's right, not only is he young, isn't his power level just way too frightening? He was so scary. Let's not even begin to talk about his disposition. One look and one can definitely tell that he's someone extraordinary and peerless. That palm strike just now, that was simply awesome. I doubt even greater celestial beings can be that strong. It felt as though the entire sky was about to collapse. Listening to the praises of his juniors, Kai Tianzhao's mouth twitched slightly with a look of pride. Of course, that's my teacher for you. Let me tell you guys. Back then, I and my classmates were the ones with the lowest potential within the entire school. 2 years ago, my cultivation state was only that of a precelestial. It was only with the guidance of my teacher that my cultivation state could leap so far. Kai Tianzhao's mood was much more pleasant right now. Ah, that can't be right. Senior brother, you were only a post-celestial when you had entered the sect back then. With your current cultivation state right now, wasn't it all due to your own hard work? A junior brother disagreed with him. That's right, the others nodded in agreement that it was due to his own hard work. Looking at all of them, the look of gratitude flooded Kai Tianzhao's face once more. He swept his robes and looked up into the distant sky. You guys don't understand. If you don't say, how would we understand? Please tell us. That's right, that's right. Kai Tianzhao smiled and shook his head. You guys don't understand. Single quote. Single quote. Everyone else. Lin Fan had not expected the first person he would bump into upon returning to Kangling Continent to be an ex-student of his. That was nice. It had been 2 years. He should go and have a look. The place where Saint Devil sect used to be, he wondered how it was right now. Or perhaps, some people might have already taken over it. Lin Fan's eyes were cold right now. Now that he was back, there was no way he would be satisfied without causing a hell of a ruckus. Otherwise, he would be letting himself down for the past 2 years of suffering. With that, a figure darted across the sky. The place which Saint Devil sect used to occupy was a prosperous piece of land where feng shui was plentiful. Even though there were barely any structures left after that massive war, there were still many people who eyed it. And right now, that place was occupied by Chengkin sect. After that great war, the 9 sects had split up the wealth of Saint Devil sect equally. With that, this entire place was given to Chengkin sect. The place where Chengkin sect was situated initially was a pretty decent place. However, they coveted this place where Saint Devil sect was. After Saint Devil sect's destruction, the Grand Master of Chengkin sect ordered their entire sect to move over to this location. Chengkin sect's training grounds. Countless of disciples were training tirelessly. A series of loud grunts rang through the sky, as all the disciples were hard at training up. A figure glided through the entire training grounds like a dragon. He was emanating hot air consistently, as though his body was filled with boiling water. Tiger's roar. A Chenkin sect disciple filled with vigor landed a punch on a motionless person standing there. Bam! A dull thud rang out, accompanied by a loud cry. The person who was struck collapsed onto the ground while spitting out blood. His eyes were filled with hatred. HMPH, trash. Can't even take a punch. The Chenkin sect disciple looked coldly at the punching bag who was sent flying, and his lips curled in disdain. The surrounding Chenkin sect disciples gathered and laughed. Hey, senior brother. These bunch of punching bags that are leftovers from the old Saint Devil sect. How can they still spit out blood after training their titanium-grade demon body for such a long time? What a bunch of weebs. Why's the Grand Master even keeping them alive? Oh, that's something you guys don't understand. The Grand Master mentioned that cultivation requires one to have practical fighting experience. These guys used to be punching bags of Saint Devil sect, and they've trained the lowest possible skill of physical body strengthening. Even though it's pretty useless, they won't die that easily. Especially when that titanium-grade demon body is trained to its peak, they can take quite the beating. Oh, so that's the case. Seems like these punching bags of the Saint Devil sect are still pretty useful, Well, we've killed quite a few in the past 2 years. These are the only ones left. Senior brother, you've got to hold it in. Leave some of them for us. Haha, of course, of course. The Chenkin sect disciple laughed maniacally. He looked the punching bag viciously. Why? You're indignant. All of you punching bags from Saint Devil sect are a bunch of trashes. Some of the remaining punching bags from Saint Devil sect looked at these Chenkin sect disciples with a raging fire. But what could they do? They were only alive right now under their mercy. Even though they were punching bags back in Saint Devil sect, they would still be left with some dignity and mercy. However, these Chenkin sect disciples were more vicious than the other. None of them took them as human beings. During that battle back then, they were nothing but punching bags who could do nothing. Eventually, they were captured as slaves after Saint Devil sect was destroyed. They thought that they might be spared by these sects. To think that the Chenkin sect Grand Master would have an eye on them and keep them alive just to be punching bags for his disciples. Wang Xiaoliu gripped his fists tightly. Looking at his fellow punching bags from Saint Devil sect, he gritted his teeth. Even though he feared death in his heart, he had enough. I've had enough. I want to challenge you. Fine, I'll acknowledge being Saint Devil sect's punching bag. But to be punching bags for you guys? I can't take that anymore. What else can you do to me other than kill me? I ain't afraid. Wang Xiaoliu lashed out at that Chenkin sect disciple. Ha 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 ha. No, vel, b, in dot c, ohm. All the surrounding Chenkin sect disciples burst out laughing. This guy was just courting his own death. To think that he would even think of resisting at this point. What a joke. Xiaoliu. Within the past few years, the relationship of these punching bags had grown even stronger. They had thought of resisting earlier on, but this was the enemy's territory. What could they even do? Looking at Xiaoliu resisting for them, their hearts began to worry. Oh, you, what do you know? You want to beat us with your titanium-grade demon body? The Chenkin sect disciple burst out laughing wildly. He flexed his muscles, causing one to feel intimidated by them. Wang Xiaoliu ground his teeth. With my family technique. Ha 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 ha. Everyone started laughing once more, as though they had heard the funniest joke in the entire world. Family technique? What a bloody damned joke. Come, I'll see just what sort of dog's tea family technique you have. I'll fight you. Don't insult my family technique. With a holler, Wang Xiaoliu darted towards the Chenkin sect disciple. Ha ha ha. Looking at this punching bag who couldn't even muster a proper stance, all the disciples started jeering. In their eyes, trash would always be trash. Family technique. Joke. What a joke. Chapter 402. Start shivering. Chapter 402. Start shivering. HMPH, since you want to die. Your father shall grant you your wish. Looking at Wang Xiaoliu, who was dashing towards him, the Chenkin sect disciple gripped his fists with his blood pumping. Wang Xiaoliu's face was resolute as he gritted his teeth. Even though his titanium-grade demon body was already at its peak state, he knew that he was no match for this disciple before him. But, so what? No matter what, he would pit his life against this person. Bam! As the punch landed on Wang Xiaoliu's chest, the energy spread out violently. The Chenkin sect disciple smirked. This punch would definitely take his life. But at this moment, he was shocked to find out that even though Wang Xiaoliu has taken his punch, he was still gripping on tightly to the Chenkin sect disciple's wrist like a fly that didn't know its place. HMPH, know your place. The Chenkin sect disciple hollered out. To think that this punching bag was thinking of retaliating. How brazen. Hee hee. Wang Xiaoliu glared at this man fixedly, spurting a mouthful of fresh blood. He then laughed out sinisterly. How dare you laugh at my family technique? I'll show you. Suddenly, Wang Xiaoliu's hand reached out. Monkey steals peaches. Even though it was a simple move, this was Wang Xiaoliu's family's special technique. Once upon a time, Wang Xiaoliu's family was a distinguished one who specialized in monkey steals peaches. In the end, they fell from grace. The reason behind the fall should be due to the fact that there were no descendants who could properly grasp the essence of monkey steals peaches. Looking at the situation, the Chenkin sect disciple was startled momentarily before shouting out angrily, "How dare you employ such despicable moves?" Wang Xiaoliu's face changed. He had not expected the other party to react to this. Bam! The Chenkin sect disciple sent a kick flying towards Wang Xiaoliu's chest. In that instant, Wang Xiaoliu was sent flying with blood spraying out of his mouth. Ugh! Wang Xiaoliu laid on the ground. His face was dazed with a look of disbelief. How could he see through it? I thought I've clearly mastered the essence of my family technique. Looking at the pitiful state of Wang Xiaoliu, all the surrounding punching bags shuddered in fear. This was no good. There was definitely going to be a tragedy. HMPH, trash. You dare to claim that such a despicable move is your family's secret technique? What a bloody big joke. The Chenkin sect disciple laughed wildly. Lying on the ground, Wang Xiaoliu gripped his fists tightly. How could his family technique be trash? His family had grown to power in the past just because of that. HMPH, looking at a useless punching bag like that makes me angry. Whack him. If he dies, throw him out to feed the dogs. Yes. Instantly, a bunch of Chenkin sect disciples surrounded Wang Xiaoliu and rained punches and kicks on him. Wang Xiaoliu curled up into a ball, enduring the beating silently. He wanted to retaliate, but his hands were still quivering. At this moment, he finally felt the fear of death. Just as they were whacking him, a torn and tattered blue book fell out from Wang Xiaoliu's chest. A sharp-eyed Chenkin sect disciple picked it up before he burst out laughing. Ha ha, hey guys, take a look. This is his so-called family technique, monkey steals peaches. Looking at the time-worn and tattered cover, everyone burst out laughing frantically. Return it to me, Wang Xiaoliu howled out in anger. Rip, that disciple took the book in front of Wang Xiaoliu and shredded into pieces right in his face. What a joke, family technique, a deplorable move as such would only be considered as a treasure by trash like you. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. Wang Xiaoliu gripped his fists. It's not trash. It's trash. All the Chenkin sect disciples jeered. It's not. Wang Xiaoliu stood up and looked at everyone with reddened eyes. Looking at his eyes, the masses were startled for a moment. Recovering from the astonishment, that embarrassment turned into rage. A trash is a trash. Bloody punching bag. Speak any more and I shall rip out your tongue. Wang Xiaoliu looked at these Chenkin sect disciples and his heart shuddered. Looking at the shredded pieces on the floor, his heart was equally shredded. He truly wanted to reply that it was not trash. However, he was filled with fear right now. If you don't want to die, you better repeat after me. My family technique is trash. The fierce-looking Chenkin sect disciple glared at Wang Xiaoliu, toying with him. Wang Xiaoliu was at a loss right now. Shing! A sharp blade appeared in the Chenkin sect disciple's hand. It was as though the only outcome for Wang Xiaoliu if he did not repeat those words was death. Brother Xiaoliu, say it. The other punching bags urged him hurriedly. Listening to the voices of the masses, Wang Xiaoliu's heart was in a mess right now. Hurry up and say it. Otherwise, I'll slice off your head clean. The Chenkin sect disciple hollered viciously. Wang Xiaoliu gripped his fists tightly. This was the skill that was handed down by his ancestors. It represented the most glorious moments of his family's history. Wang Xiaoliu could not help but recall his father's final words before he died, Xiaoliu. Xiaoliu, monkey steals peaches is the core of our family. You must do well to comprehend the essence of it so that you do not bring shame to its name. ... Shing. Suddenly, the sharp blade had found its way to Wang Xiaoliu's neck. The razor-edged sword aura sliced at Xiaoliu's neck. If he did not say it, the next second, his head would roll on the ground. Xiaoliu was totally lost right now. His heart was in a state of despair. He closed his eyes gently. He had decided, even if he were to die right now, he wouldn't say it. It's not trash. Suddenly, a loud voice permeated from the sky above. Everyone was stunned, wondering what happened. Wang Xiaoliu opened his eyes as well, searching for the source of the voice. When he looked up into the sky, he saw a figure floating there. However, the scorching sunlight was piercing his eyes, so he couldn't make out the figure floating there properly. Monkey steals peaches is an extremely powerful skill. If that skill is trash, then every other skill in this world is trash. Lin Fan floated in the air. Looking at the scene of the people bullied below, he couldn't help but recall back those memories of the past. Big bro, this is my family technique. You're the genius amongst us, big bro. You must fight on for us. Taking Lin Fan as a hero, Wang Xiaoliu had handed over his family technique easily to Lin Fan. Back then, Lin Fan was filled with gratitude. He swore to himself, when I come to dominate the world one day, I will ensure your success. That was the promise that Lin Fan had made to Wang Xiaoliu back then. Even though Wang Xiaoliu did not reply, Lin Fan could tell that the other party had not thought this far, nor he took his words entirely to heart. Now that he was the strongest in Xuanwang world, someone who could suppress every single being, it was time for him to fulfill that promise. Wang Xiaoliu looked up at the man in the sky. This was the first time he had heard anyone say that his family technique wasn't a piece of trash. As such, he was really emotional right now. Yet, he couldn't make out the features of the other party. Lin Fan gradually descended. As Wang Xiaoliu slowly made out the features of the other party, his face slowly turned into one of disbelief. He would never forget that face. This face, it reminded him of that man. Xiaoliu, seems like we're truly fated, Lin Fan's mouth curled into a smile. Big bro, Wang Xiaoliu shuddered emotionally. He had not expected the other party to be his ex-punching bag comrade, Lin Fan. Back then, Lin Fan had the balls to fight against the disciples of the sect. With that, he earned everyone's respect. Wang Xiaoliu took out his family technique and handed it to him. And with that, he recognized this man as a big brother. Chapter 403, How could he have not known something so simple? Chapter 403, How could he have not known something so simple? Fret not, little brother. Lin Fan smiled calmly, stretching out his hand and motioning for them to not feel worried. Regarding Monkey Steals Peaches, Lin Fan was filled with gratitude towards Wang Xiaoliu. After all, if Wang Xiaoliu had not given him the skill so selflessly, Lin Fan's path to greatness would not have been this smooth. This was a really sick skill. Even sick was an understatement for it. All these years, Lin Fan had managed to gain the upper hand in countless situations just because of it. As for why Wang Xiaoliu had yet to comprehend the essence of it, Lin Fan was puzzled as well. Perhaps, this skill was truly handcrafted for someone just like Lin Fan. Right now, the other punching bags from Saint Devil sect looked at this man curiously. He looked pretty familiar, yet they could not really remember who he was. Even though Lin Fan was pretty famous in the punching bag gang back in Saint Devil sect, not everyone knew about him. No.c.om. Furthermore, there were quite a number of punching bags who were killed mercilessly by these Chenkin sect disciples in the past 2 years. With that, there was practically nothing left of the punching bag gang. Who are you? The Chenkin sect disciple glared at Lin Fan coldly. He had not expected this man to be an acquaintance of these punching bags. That was weird. Xiaoliu, did this sect take part in the annihilation of Saint Devil sect back then? Ignoring that Chenkin sect disciple, Lin Fan asked Xiaoliu directly. Yes, they are Chenkin sect. Wang Xiaoliu replied hurriedly. The moment Xiaoliu finished his words, the Chenkin sect disciple's face turned cold. With a loud holler, he darted forward, wanting to slice off Xiaoliu's head. HMPH. Looking at the brazen act of this disciple, Lin Fan snorted loudly. He disappeared from where he was and retrieved a specially crafted glove. Monkey steals peaches. Everything happened at lightning speed. No one ever saw what had happened. All they saw was the Chenkin sect disciple lying on the ground, his hands covering his crotch while wailing. To this disciple, life was extremely bleak right now. The only thing he could feel was the swelling pain of his nugget surging up his head. Xiaoliu, back then, you handed me the ultimate move of Monkey Steals Peaches. Today, I shall demonstrate to you just how powerful your skill is. Lin Fan had wanted to slap the other party to death. But right now, he had a change of mind. He felt that he ought to give Wang Xiaoliu some hope. For the past few generations, no one in Wang Xiaoliu's family had comprehended the essence of Monkey Steals Peaches. As such, his family had fallen from their graceful position in society. If Lin Fan didn't glorify Monkey Steals Peaches once more, Wang Xiaoliu might truly lose all hope in this family technique of his. Now that Lin Fan had even evolved Monkey Steel's peaches to twisting heaven and earth, the benefits were countless. But one must not forget the roots of Monkey Steel's peaches. Alright then, today, Lin Fan would use it and display the most potent side of Monkey Steel's peaches. Wang Xiaoliu looked at Lin Fan blankly. He had not expected Big Bro to actually deploy Monkey Steel's peaches against the enemy. By now, Wang Xiaoliu had an urge to cry out emotionally. He had always believed that his family technique was really strong. However, the fact that no one in his family had comprehended it for a few generations had caused the outside world to view this skill as nothing but deplorable. But through Big Bro, he could finally see hope. Looking at the Chenkin sect disciple who was groveling on the ground, a weird sensation filled Wang Xiaoliu's heart. Was this the true power of Monkey Steel's peaches? Xiaoliu, Monkey Steel's peaches is a heaven-defying skill. With it, you can negate all defenses and cause the other party to feel an immense pain. Lin Fan explained coolly. Wang Xiaoliu looked at Lin Fan silently. He then looked at the Chenkin sect disciple once more and got excited. So, this was indeed the power of his family technique, Monkey Steel's peaches. Incredible. Looking at the scene before them, all the other Chenkin sect disciples retreated slightly in fear. The state of their senior brother sent a chill down their spines. What a vicious move, arg, it hurts. The disciple howled at the top of his lungs. His initially flushed red face was now pale as a sheet. In fact, even the thought of suicide crossed his mind right now. It was a feeling like he would die if he didn't continue to hold on to his crotch. Painful, absolutely painful. This was a pain no one could endure at all. Just who is this little junior who has come to my Chenkin sect to be so insolent? Just then, a few figures appeared on the training grounds. Grandmaster, Elder. Looking at these figures, Lin Fan curled into a cold smile. Especially that Grandmaster, that was a face that Lin Fan would never forget for the rest of his life. Who are you? Qian Kunzi looked at this young man. He then looked at his disciple who was quivering on the floor before frowning and hollering. Seeing Qian Kunzi's arrival, Wang Xiaoliu and the other punching bags could not help but shiver in fear. They were thoroughly afraid from the bottom of their hearts. This was an extremely scary man. At the same time, Wang Xiaoliu and the others could not help but worry. They knew that their big bro had gotten way stronger in these past 2 years. But even then, he might not be the match of Qian Kunzi just yet. Grandmaster, why are you wasting your breath on him? How dare this intruder step foot into Chenkin sect? Let's just take him down. A slightly bald elder remarked. Ho, since when was this Chenkin sect's place? This is the Saint Devil sect. Lin Fan glared at Qian Kunzi. A fiery flame was raging within Lin Fan's heart. However, he soothed it down. It would be a waste to let the other party die an easy death. He would take his time to torment this person. This person must know what it was like to experience it. The Lin's style of torment. The moment Lin Fan finished his words, the face of Qian Kunzi changed. Who exactly are you? Even though 2 whole years had passed, these people from Chenkin sect still had an uneasy feeling. Looking carefully at Lin Fan, Qian Kunzi jolted for a second, as though he had recalled something. It's you, that B*****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************�e That's me all right, Lin Fan laughed helplessly. The god blood is on you. Qian Kunzi's face froze up before laughing out wildly. You had a way out of all these, yet you chose to ignore that and come down back to hell once more. I've been searching for you for the past 2 years. To think that you would turn up on my doorsteps on your own. Amazing. Seems like I hadn't wasted all my efforts. The moment he heard the words, God blood, Lin Fan's blood boiled. Even though he had already absorbed the god blood, he did not know what its effects were. Hence, it was almost as though there had been no effect on him. However, it was all because of this god blood that the entire Saint Devil sect was destroyed. Damn it, how was that worth it? Qian Kunzi sized Lin Fan up properly. His aura was practically non-existent. Seemed like he couldn't have gotten that strong after all. In the past 2 years, all 9 great sects had expended all their efforts into looking for him. However, it was as though he had disappeared from the entire face of this world. Seemed like that old fogey from Saint Devil sect still had some tricks up his sleeves to be able to hide someone so deeply and thoroughly. Big bro. Wang Xiaoliu was worried. Lin Fan waved his hand in nonchalance. Smiling and stepping up slightly, he continued, that's right, I'm here right at your doorsteps now, Grandmaster Chenkin. Why, are you thinking of killing me? Qian Kunzi looked at Lin Fan and burst out laughing, as long as you're obedient, I'll promise you get to keep your life. To Qian Kunzi, this lad was a trash 2 years ago. Even if he met some sort of miracle in the past 2 years, how strong could he have gotten? Naturally, Qian Kunzi wasn't worried in the least bit. But just then, a loud voice boomed out. Monkey steals peaches. Arg! Everyone's jaws dropped to the ground, unable to believe the scene that was happening right before them. The gleeful look on Qian Kunzi's face had turned ever more tragic. It was as though the most dreadful thing in his life had just happened. Hands at his crotch, he squatted down in slow motion. This tragic and sorrowful cry rang out across the entire Chenkin sect. This was a melancholic wail. There was nothing in this world that could compare to the morose tone of this cry. Lin Fan was unbothered in the least bit by the state of Qian Kunzi. He turned around slowly and looked at Wang Xiaoliu. Did you see that? The essence of monkey steals peaches is for you to not rush headstrong in. You've got to wait till the enemy is unprepared. Stretch out, pull, and give it a good rumbling. Of course, for the sake of your health, you've got to prepare some gloves or the likes. Who knows what sort of diseases dirty, stinky old men like these have. Looking at everything, Wang Xiaoliu could only nod his head blankly. Daddy, our family's monkey steals peaches has finally been glorified. Even the Grand Master of a great sect has fallen prey to it. Wang Xiaoliu looked up into the sky as 2 streams of hot tears poured down his face freely. This was a demonstration of his emotions. At the same time, he finally began to understand the essence of monkey steals peaches. Shifty and opportunistic, that was the way to go about it. Something as easy as such, how could he have taken so long to understand? Chapter 404, Heaven-Piercing Treasure Aura. Chapter 404, Heaven-Piercing Treasure Aura. It had been a long time since Lin Fan had used monkey steals peaches, or even twisting heaven and earth for that matter of fact. After all, these were skills that disrupted the balance of heaven and earth really intensely. And, the most crucial point was that he already had the true Origin's crushing kick right now. Hence, there was no need for him to intentionally resort to twisting heaven and earth. However, for the sake of allowing Wang Xiaoliu's confidence to be regained, Lin Fan had to do a proper demonstration. As for this Grand Master Chenkin who was once so strong in Lin Fan's eyes. Naturally, he was the best candidate for the demonstration. This tragic cry was chilling. Even the elders nearby could only watch with befuddled eyes. What in the world had just happened? You, Elder Di Zonghai glared at Lin Fan in a rage. However, the moment his eyes moved towards Lin Fan's right hand, he could not help but retreat back a few steps. A gentle pain in his nuggets began to surge up to his head. Looking at everyone else, Lin Fan smirked. He pinched his fingers repeatedly before turning his gaze down and glaring at everyone with a sinister look. I'm here for revenge today. None of you shall even dream of escaping. All the elders of Chenkin sect were astonished. Glancing at one another, they hollered back, don't you dare go overboard. With just you alone. Lin Fan chuckled, give it a try then. Brazen. In that instant, all of those elders burst out with an immense amount of energy, slapping towards Lin Fan with palm strikes. These strikes had a tremendous aura. In the eyes of Wang Xiaoliu and the others, this was practically enough to destroy the world. Lin Fan stood and looked at these people calmly. Their cultivation states were too weak. So weak that he wasn't interested in the least bit. Or rather, it would be more accurate to say that he could even squash them like ants with the flip of his palm. Boss, be careful. Looking at this scene, Wang Xiaoliu could not help but exclaim out in worry. In Wang Xiaoliu's eyes, the fact that Lin Fan was standing there motionlessly was a sign that he should be rooted in fear. Bam! The 6 elders let out a gleeful smile. Their strikes of full power had landed successfully on the other party. But in that instant, their faces changed. Weak. Simply too weak. Lin Fan laughed coldly. Activating True Origin's crushing kick, he sent a kick towards all of their crotches. Arg, arg, one by one, the sounds of their nuggets exploding rang through the skies. The 6 elders lied on the ground, their hands covering their crotches as they rolled around in pain without a single care of their image any longer. Painful, painful, this was bloody painful. It was so painful that they were starting to doubt the very existence of life. Looking at the scene, all the surrounding Chenkin sect disciples could only gape with frightful eyes. As Lin Fan cast his gaze on them, all of their faces turned pale with shock. They were truly fearful right now. To think that the Grand Master and all the other elders could not even withstand a single strike from the other party. What sort of a terrifying existence was he? Lin Fan looked at these Chenkin sect disciples. For every debt to be collected, there was a debtor. Lin Fan wasn't someone who would involve others or destroy the sects of others for no reason. These disciples here had no right to take part in that battle back then. They were not involved. Y'all, scram, Lin Fan muttered these words softly. Instantly, all of the disciples sprinted as quickly as they could away from the sect out of the mountains. Be it inner sect or outer sect disciples, none of them dared to stay any longer. They didn't even dare to pack their belongings before running off without a single word. Boss, Wang Xiaoliu looked at Lin Fan with a face of respect. The other punching bag disciples were the same. Domineering and imposing. To think that Grandmaster Chengqin, who was practically invincible in their eyes, would be as weak as a chicken in front of Lin Fan. Xiaoliu, don't worry. The promise I made to you those years ago that you'll definitely soar in life, I'll definitely fulfill it. I guarantee you that your life from henceforth will change entirely. Lin Fan continued. Boss, that wasn't what I was referring to. Just the fact that you could glorify my family technique, monkey steals peaches, to this state of mastery. I'm already grateful enough for that. Wang Xiaoliu replied in gratitude. It's alright, these are two different things. Wait for me at the back. I've still got stuff to finish settling here. Yes, Wang Xiaoliu and the others nodded their heads and headed off. Looking at the 7 men lying on the ground, Lin Fan smiled with a frosty look. You reap what you sow. Now that yours truly was back, none of them should even dream of escaping this. Greed, fair enough, haha, yours truly would use that vice of greed to lure all of them back here. From his storage, Lin Fan took out the storage ring of Chen Zan. Even though this man dared to proclaim himself as someone blessed from the heavens, he did do pretty well. In just the span of a single year, he had collected tons of valuable treasures. And now, these treasures were about to show their worth. Lin Fan poured out all the treasures within. They piled up like a small little mountain on their own. These were treasures that people of Kangling continent could never ever obtain. After all, Chen Zan did have 60 energy grid line chains to his command. Therefore, the items he would take an eye or liking to would definitely be some peerless and priceless treasures. Looking at these precious items, Lin Fan smirked coldly and flicked his robes. Treasure aura, go forth and attract those dumb *CKS back for yours truly. Boom, with that, a beam of treasure aura shot up straight into the sky. Wang Xiaoliu and the others glared at the light beam, stunned and in a daze. They did not know what that was. But by the looks of it, this thing looked pretty damn cool. It seemed to be something really powerful. Lin Fan looked at this treasure aura. Seems like it looks attractive, but it's not enough. Fine, I'll just throw everything out and see who'll come for it. But, they'll have to see if they've got the life to get away with it. Energy grid line chains, come out. Energy grid line chains could be considered as a form of treasure as well. With that, Lin Fan tossed all 60 energy grid line chains of Chen Zan into the mix of treasures. An even rougher beam of treasure aura burst out into the sky, creating a strange phenomenon. A vortex appeared above the sky, with lightning rumbling within it. This was the process of the formation of a treasure guardian spirit. Once the treasure aura hit a sufficient capacity, it would result in the formation of a treasure guardian spirit catastrophe. If it could tide through the catastrophe, a treasure guardian spirit would be formed. And if it couldn't, all the treasures would disappear into dust. Get lost. Looking at the skies, Lin Fan slapped his palm outwards. Suddenly, the entire catastrophe ripped apart and dissipated. Yours truly is here to attract all those greedy FCKS. There was no need to form a treasure guardian spirit. With that, a shockwave rippled out in all directions towards the world. Countless sects felt the vibrations. Infinite Flower Sect.